Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hit and Hustle from IrishSportsDaily.com. I'm your host, Greg Flammang, and with me, as always, is Jamie Uyeyama, Mr. Jamie University. It's our first October show, Jamie. It is Thursday, October 2nd. We're going to preview the Notre Dame game against Boise State coming up this weekend. Notre Dame looks to go over 500 for the first time this year. Boise State is coming off 3 straight victories. Notre Dame is currently 20.5-point favorites. That's interesting, Jamie. So we're going to be looking at that. And we're going to be previewing the game. It's going to be a really good time. We've got some injury updates from Marcus Freeman. We'll get to those in just 1 second. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. If you like what you hear, please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so whenever it is we go live. Links to the podcast are in the description below. And as always, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing. It's founded by Notre Dame alum Ge Wang. He is Chicago's go-to for the best custom suits, shirts, and sport coats. Notre Dame has reloaded for this season. We look for them to reload on defense. You can reload your wardrobe with the perfect suit, sport coat, tuxedo, or casual jacket for the fall. ESQ's master tailors combine next-level craftsmanship with the finest fabrics to deliver a fit that's built just for you. Now with showrooms both downtown Chicago and in Winnetka. Book your custom fitting at esqclothing.com and step into confidence with Chicago's finest. Mention ISD at your appointment and receive 10% off your entire purchase. That's esqclothing.com. Talked about it right at the top. Marcus Freeman is speaking. Upgraded to probable this weekend is cornerback Leonard Moore, as well as defensive tackle Donovan Heinisch, both listed as probable. They did the same thing with Devontae Smith last week. He ended up starting the game against Arkansas. So, we look for Leonard Moore to be available. What that actually means is we'll get into in just a second, because I got to tell you, Jamie, I don't know if I want that ankle. You know, I want pain-free. I don't want like heavy tape or any of that stuff like we saw with Jordan Faison. They brought him back for the Louisville game. It was game 5 as well, that Louisville game was. And he got kind of rolled up on again, and he was out.
He was never the same, really.
He was never the same. So, hopefully Notre Dame is being judicious about that. Ge Wang is in the chat. Says Notre Dame 56-17. I mean, people are just going bonkers over Notre Dame's offense. We got Domerhead 45-23, Justin Kane 63-17, Ray Horton 49-14 or 63-27, excuse me, from Justin Kane. Justin Kane 63-27. Eric Fasano 49-17. So people are fired up about the points, Jamie. But talk about Donovan Heinisch coming back and Leonard Moore.
Well, I think, Heinisch, they obviously don't need to rush him, I think, based on kind of where they're at defensive tackle. I think if you look at like Elijah Hughes, he's really, really stepped up and played well. And I think he's earned a spot in the rotation now. Like that's a definite.
Yeah.
Also, Cole Mullins has played well when he's got an opportunity. So I don't think they need to rush him if he's not, certainly I'm sure he will want to play and do everything he can to play. But if it's not good, they don't need to push it. They don't need to push it. So I will say, like, I think there's a chance if he's back in that, like, I don't know if it'll happen, but like I could see Jason Anya getting squeezed out of the rotation, or at least, limited a little bit. I just think the other guys are playing better than him. So that's something to monitor if Heinisch plays. I think I want to see like the snap counts after that. I think Leonard Moore, obviously, like, I mean, if he's healthy enough to play, yeah, you play, because
there's no point in not. Yeah.
You can't take it. Also, you can't take it for granted just because you're like, well, Notre Dame's favored by this or whatever. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, you got to go out and like try to win. And obviously there's so much. He's the best player on the defense. Like he's an All-American. That's a guy you want to have on the field if he's available. So you don't want to push it if he's not there. Like, I'm totally fine with, but the fact that he was, a game time decision last week makes me think that it was probably like what you were saying about Faison, is like they probably pushed it too much Faison when he was like a game time thing. And this is, should be a good enough thing to know whether or not that he can play or not. I imagine he's not like he wouldn't be probable if he wasn't practicing the whole week.
For sure.
So I think that's probably a good sign. And frankly, I'm excited to kind of see, not just because he's such a good player and you want to see him back, but I want to see what the defense looks like with him back, because I thought they really played well in the secondary, without him last week. Yeah. Obviously, they're going to be a better team with him, and I want to kind of see how it all works.
That's where I'm at, Jamie, with like I was, I thought Mark Zachary played a good game. I was just really impressed with, because we got the all 22 and we were able to watch that. And you see some of the stuff where he doesn't get the ball thrown to him. And someone asked for like some breakdowns on the site. It's kind of hard to break down. Like, I really like how he reacted to this route that is actually even a run play kind of thing. Like, he just never was beaten, but for one time, and I just think that really matters in the context of like his growth as a player. And so I'm, like you said, I'm very excited about this defense because I want to see them with their best five out there. Tay Johnson playing next to Adon Schuler, with Leonard Moore to the boundary, Christian Gray to the field, and then Devontae Smith in the slot, right? And I think with Dallas Golden, who also looks good, and Mark Zachary coming in spell, like I think that Mark Zachary can then take minutes from Leonard Moore. He can take minutes from Christian Gray. They don't need to put him on the boundary. They can just flip-flop Moore and Gray if they need to. So I'm just very excited about that piece. I do want to talk about the interior because I agree with you. Elijah Hughes has done things in the last two games that just demand that he plays, and like obviously non-garbage time stuff. Like he is just his motor, he's defeating blocks, creating havoc. Would you say that Arkansas was the best game Rubio's ever played at Notre Dame?
I
know he's had some good ones in the past. Like I know you liked him, I want to say against like Ohio State in 23 or whatever it was.
Yeah, he was very good in that game.
I know you liked him in that, but like just the playmaking, like he actually able to like defeat blocks and then go down the line and make plays. I thought he was phenomenal against Arkansas. It was very eye-opening. Like it was kind of the performance that we expected from Uyeyama, given the way that Marcus Freeman was talking about him. But I thought Rubio kind of was the one who kind of showed himself in that one.
Well, and I think one of the things too with Rubio was like last year when he came back from the foot injury, I never felt that he really he played okay, but it never to kind of the level. And remember, he had missed the spring before too, right? Because he was, he had other stuff that made him miss the spring. He was out of school at that time, so he never really kind of played at that level, which is probably why he didn't get hyped up, as much this year. No one was thinking that, wow, Gabriel Rubio is going to be the best defensive tackle on the team. I don't think that's, the way that people kind of viewed it there, but I think it was his best game. I think you're right. I think it was his best game. Yeah. And I also thought the week before against Purdue was by far his best game as a pass rusher too.
Yeah.
And I think now he's just kind of finally understood that, like, hey, I am this, like, in terms of who he is as a pass rusher, which is one of these things. I was listening to like clip from Von Miller, and he was talking about how he's not a big move guy in terms of like throwing a pass rush move, right? Like he's like 90% of his wins are like his speed, his get off, and then his counter to that is power, right? It's like, okay, well, they're gonna adjust to my speed. Well, I'm gonna go speed to power, right? And then the guys who are power rushers, it's like they got to be finesse if they want to do it. But at defensive tackle, it's different than it is on the edge. And with a guy like him, every single thing should be like bully ball. Like that's exactly what he should do. He doesn't have to be, and he can win, when someone hard sets you, yeah, you can throw a move, but it's like, don't be trying to throw all kind of crazy hands. Don't work a move. That's not who you are. You're not Howard Cross. You're not Riley Mills. You are. And really too, Mills, when Mills started to rush, became a power rusher, was when he started to make a big difference. And I'm not saying that Rubio was going to be Riley Mills, but you can see he's much better at that now. And as Josh Miller pointed out, the mustache, you gotta love it.
Ever since he went full stash, things have shot up for him. And so,
yeah,
thank you to Josh Miller for pointing that out.
He's been the best defensive tackle on the team, I think. Through the first 4 games, I think he's been the best guy. I will say, I thought like Jared Dawson, coming back off of the injury, like he had a good game. I like, we just mentioned Hughes. Hughes is playing really well. He's playing really well. I really like his game. Heinisch obviously he only played the first 5 snaps, so he was obviously hurt, at that, and missed that time. And I think, Mullins specifically used as like a pass rusher, I think great. Like, I'm excited and I want to see if he can do more. Obviously he's, making the most of his reps when he's playing. Anye, it's like, if you're not kind of put on notice already with how everybody else is playing, like it's got to happen. It's got to happen now, or else, like, he is going to, get lost in the shuffle. Because especially as when you, like, they don't have too many games where I'd say, like, they're going to play against teams where it's like, okay, when you play Ohio State and hey, we got to have our best out there, like, as much as possible. They don't have too many of those games in terms of, like, the offenses they're facing, where I think it's going to be quite like that. Not to say that, like, USC is the obvious one, right?
Yeah.
But if this was USC this week, I'd be like, how many snaps is Anya going to play? Less than 10, I would say. That's how I view it out and how I've seen him play. So it's kind of like, now's the time. Yeah. It's like, Marcus Freeman talked about hitting the panic button. It's like, panic button. He's got to turn it up.
Yeah. Some further quotes from Marcus Freeman on Leonard Moore. Made gains in recovering from high ankle sprain. Takes a while to get there. Believes he will help this weekend. Has been practicing this week. He also mentioned he won't be 100%. Irish believe he'll help. So, listen, we're monitoring that situation. I mean, if it gets there, there's obviously going to be some hindsight stuff if there's a re-aggravation or something, he goes limping off the field, should he play, but we'll see, right? I believes he'll help them. What does that mean, right? We'll have to see what exactly that means for this game. Let's talk a little bit about Boise State real quick in their running game, because obviously in the opener against USF, things did not go well for Boise State. In the run game, 38 carries, 122 yards, 3.2 yards per carry. But since then, they've played Eastern Washington, Air Force, and App State. 8.4 yards a carry against Eastern Washington, 328 rushing yards, 282 rushing yards against Air Force, 9.1 yards a carry. Last week against Appalachian State, 44 carries, 152 yards, 3.4 yards a carry. So, listen, competition, right, is a caveat here, and then what they're going to come up against this weekend. But they can run the ball, and they do like to run the ball with 2 running backs.
Or they got 3 guys, really,
Yeah, 3 running backs. So let's look over these their players. Dylan Riley is at 48 carries, 360 yards. Malik Sherrod is a good running back. He's averaging 5.8 a carry, and then Sire Gaines, freshman, is at 6.5 yards per carry, 38 carries, 245 yards. So they have 3 guys that they can go with. And Maddox Madsen can scoot a little bit, although he's not like the threat, but he's kind of like
he's a good athlete.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. Let me ask you this question regarding the run game opponents and Notre Dame's run defense. If the D tackles are just average, let's say they're just, and I don't, no one in particular, let's just say, generally speaking, the D tackles are average running the ball or against the run. Can Notre Dame stop any team's kind of running game that is anywhere close to good? And when I say stop them, I mean be effective.
Um, well, I guess what's how do you define average?
I
that would be
guess they're not making plays, but they're not getting totally dominated, like pushed back at my point. I guess the point I want to have a linebacker discussion is basically what I'm doing, that I did a very poor job of setting up. Because we were talking yesterday, the way that they have Notre Dame's linebackers playing against the run, I don't know what a good game looks like from them in the running game. They don't want them attacking. They want them sitting and reading something, whether it's the D tackles ahead of them, whether it's the running back or whatever it might be. They're reading and reacting. They're not attacking. I don't know what a good performance looks like from Drake Bowen, Jaden Osbury in the running game. Because like short of like them just sending him on run blitzes and short of sending him on run blitzes and sending them on blitzes on passing downs, I just don't know how these linebackers can be playmakers with the way that Notre Dame has them playing right now.
Yeah, I mean they haven't been playmakers. I think it is like it's disconcerting that you have Drake Bowen, Jaden Osbury have combined 0 havoc plays between them. KVA's got 1.5, and Matt Framer's got the 1 on the that pass breakup that he had against Purdue, and then Jalen Sneed has 2. Right, he had the 1 sack against Arkansas where he chased down. It wasn't like a called thing or whatever. It was just him being an athlete, getting a guy in space. And then the other one was on the quarterback sweep, that they ran against Marcel Reed ran.
Yes.
Against, Texas A&M. I mean, I don't know how you look at it and be like, there's, and I wrote about it in 6 Thoughts. Like they've only had tackles for loss on 5 running plays the entire year. Like, I don't even know how that's possible, to be honest. Like, that is so bad. It is not reflective of how the talent that they have. So they're right now in terms of their tackles for loss, like UCLA is the only team. UCLA is, hot garbage. They fired their coach already.
Yeah.
They're the only team that's worse in tackles for loss than Notre Dame. Like, because even you could say, obviously, Notre Dame's had some problems in coverage. They've still made plays on the ball. They're 12th in passes defended per game. They're actually averaging more than they did last year at this time. And then you could say even in Arkansas, like, they got 3 sacks. They got more pressure. They did the pass rush. It was like, okay, this is a good step, whatever. But on rundowns, they only got whatever. And they've done a decent, I think they've done an actually pretty good job of like playing the run period, like in terms of just, there's not a lot of, they're not giving up explosives really. They had like a couple bad drives. That's it. I think those guys are like, we mentioned Rubio. We mentioned that the defensive tackles, I think, are playing like pretty well. I wouldn't say they're as disruptive as Cross and Mills were, but they're definitely not getting driven or anything like that. They're not like, they don't have guards in their lap for the linebackers. I just think a lot of it is how they play and like what they've done to change it. And I think it's a real problem. And so they run blitz significantly less than they did. They slant the line significantly less. They stem less. So they aren't really causing disruption in a way that, you're going to mess up with blocking schemes in what they're doing. So they have, and they're also those linebackers. Like there was a play against Arkansas where Jaden Osbury, he was playing his gap. He was doing fine. And then the back bounced it back out to the other side and whatever. But it was like Osbury was waiting for him. Mm-hmm. And that is the opposite of how Jaden Osbury has played all of last season. Like if he saw like, hey, I got a chance, he was going. And the thing is too, is like, even if you miss that tackle, you still probably disrupt that play and somebody else is getting in on there too. But when you don't have them triggering And I've seen it, like, I would say in the Purdue game, I saw like a little bit of it more where it's like, okay, Bowen and like KVA in particular. KVA, I think probably not, like, he's probably not supposed to, but
I was going to say KVA is like the one who is kind of like, I'm just going to do it. Like, you know, like, I'm just going to do it.
I'm just going to play because that's how you play linebacker. Yeah. That's how I know. That's how.
You muted yourself again.
Sorry, guys. There's something going on with my mic. But so I don't know, like, so they're not really playing free.
Yeah.
And if you can't play, I mean, obviously you want to play discipline, you want to be assignments down, all that. Yeah, I get it. But if you can't play free, then you aren't going to go and make those kind of plays. And they had the trust in those guys to say, yeah, if you see it, go. Yeah. Right. And also, too, that's how Max Bulla played. That's how he played. And I'm pretty sure that's how he taught it last year, too. Like, it was like, you know, he wanted those guys and he had confidence in them to play like that. But I think it's pretty obvious that it's like a schematic thing of what they've decided to do. And they're just not, like, to have, like, right now they're on pace for like less than half the havoc that they had last year. And, you know, and that's over, like, just to talk about pace because it's like 16 games. So they play 4, right. Whatever, right?
Right.
That is bad. Like that. I don't know how you can, there's no way to put it in a way that is good. And, you know, and the thing I said was like, because people might say, well, Jack Kaiser's not. Jack Kaiser didn't have 20 havoc. They had 37 havoc plays between the top 5 linebackers last year. He had 8, which is good, you know, good. He didn't have 20. He wasn't like JOK out there like, man, this guy's just making every play. It wasn't like that. So that's not what it is. It's not that. And when, you know, Bowen had 9, he had the most havoc on the team, you know, last year at linebacker. And I think there's stuff, and I wrote about it because somebody asked about it. And I think so part of it is, you know, the triggering, the less run blitz. The other part is just like, you know, even if we're just talking about pass game stuff, it's like, well, they played some mobile quarterbacks, so maybe they're spying a little bit more and not going, and like, okay, you kind of get that, but they also just aren't blitzing as frequently. So that's less chance for havoc there. They play more zone in general with 7 in coverage. You know, they're not running a lot of like zone pressures where it's like, okay, we're dropping off a backer's going and, you know, this, you know, the edge is going to drop. They're not running a ton of that.
Yeah.
A couple times, whatever. And even then it's like 4-man rush with that. So and they're not disguising it great. So it's not really like leading to much. And so then when you don't play man, you don't have as many green dog opportunities for guys to be like, well, I'm going to add in late to try to get pressure there, and maybe get disruption there. They just, if you look at like their pass rush percentage, and this is, you know, via PFF, like, you know, understanding that KV and Snead are used to rush specifically in sub packages, right? So they're going to have higher. But last year, 21.9% Drake Bowen rush on pass plays. Kaiser 22.2%. KVA 40.8. Obviously, like I said, Snead 46.7. Osbury 18.4. This year, Bowen 17.5. I mean, not a huge difference, but 4% is 4%. Whatever, right? It's Osbury 17.2. Fermo 9.5. Obviously, he's not played that much, but still. KVA 34.1. You know, compared to, you know, 40% last year. Snead, 31.5, 46.7. And obviously, too, Snead is the guy, like, he has to blitz.
That's
like
why that's his thing.
That's his thing. That's part of the reason why it's like, well, he's not even really, like, he's kind of, you know, on the fringe now. It's like, because he can't play the other way. That's not set up for him to succeed.
People talk about Bowen being like Mike was talking on Power Hour. It's like you're not taking advantage of Drake Bowen, and that's true. It's true. Like Jalen Sneed, why is he on the team if you're not letting him attack?
Yeah,
that's the whole case for him is that he can create havoc and get in the back. If you want him to just sit around and wait, then what are you doing? Like, that doesn't help him at all. It doesn't help anybody. So this is why I'm kind of nervous about like a team that will commit to running. It's like if they neutralize Notre Dame's defensive tackles, Notre Dame's run defense is as good as the D tackles play.
I think you bring up a good point. Yeah, if they do that, but I think Boise State's guards are bad.
Okay.
And I think they're going to get their asses kicked.
Okay. Well, that's good because I think that's the necessary component. It's like, and that, like, we look at Gabe Rubio, right? You look at Gabe Rubio, you look at Elijah Hughes, like they are, and it's interesting to me how, like, when you go back and listen to Marcus Freeman talk about this team coming out of camp, he was so hot. Like the D tackles must have had great camps because they are such focal points of the way that Notre Dame defends the run. Like the D tackles must have had an incredible camp. And, you know, when Notre Dame was trying to figure out the guards or whatever it might be, to the point where Notre Dame just felt like that's why they were excited because they were just winning over and over again. I just, like you said, I can't see where the linebackers have like a really big game, just period, unless it's something with the blitz where they get home on a blitz or something. They blitz great. Like when they sent them against Arkansas, the linebackers were amazing. Drake Bowen had a great blitzing day, great pass rushing day. KVA had a good pass rushing day. So it's just like that's where it's going to happen. And you kind of see the utility of players like them when you send them at you send them in blitzing and you let them run straight ahead. They're very dangerous players. So I get nervous when it's like, okay, not only is because it used to be like Gabe Rubio has a great game. Someone like Elijah Hughes has a great game. Like that is icing on the cake kind of thing. It's like that's the extra component that makes it extremely difficult. Now I think it's a little bit more necessary component with the way that Notre Dame wants to play. I thought that they would complement the linebackers. And it's like, no, I think the D tackles are the engine to the running game, which is why if someone like Onya isn't going to be a playmaker, he can't really be out there because like
he can't.
You're not just a body eater anymore. Like you actually got to make plays.
You can't be a space eater, and I think like, it is one of these things too, and because it's you want to give. Hey, I really liked how they improved in coverage
for sure.
Like that, it looked so much better in coverage against Arkansas than it did in any other game this year, and that was a real positive. And obviously, that was a huge factor
100%.
In them. Sam Pittman said before the game, he's like, "Yeah, their secondary is way better than we thought they were." Because
it was honestly, it was night and day. It truly
looked
was.
like it. Yeah. That part of it looked like last season.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, and I think too, you could agree with me when you look at the all 22, especially because when you see so much more before the play in terms of like communication and whatever, like it was just so they had to have simplified it in a way that it was like, they did a ton of stuff where they were like, one guy motion stop, another guy like. A ton of stuff they're challenging Notre Dame, and Notre Dame was all over it.
Yeah.
So not only was it, obviously that's well scouted and whatever, but it was like, they're adjusting while it's going on. Like, and I'm sure they ran stuff that they didn't expect them to. Like it always happens, but they did really well with it. And I think it's that part you're like, hey, that's great. But I don't really see. First of all, the linebackers, you're dropping these guys into coverage. They are making plays in coverage. They're not like definitely taking away things that you're like, wow, they really took this away or whatever. Like that's not what I'm seeing. And I don't know how, if you're just looking at it and you want to say like, well, Chris Ash, like whatever, it's like, this is still a huge issue.
Yeah.
And if it's like, if you go through the year and it's like, I mean, there's no way no one would want to play in this defense. No linebacker would be like, yeah, you know what? I really want to like play it. No one would want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
so go ahead. No, please.
Well, it's just, and that's kind of how it is too. It's like, I don't know how it's again, and I don't want to come here every show and be like, Chris Ash, what are you doing? But Chris Ash, what are you doing? Because it's like, it's not. I think I'm pretty fair when it comes to like coaches and being not critical of them. Like I'll criticize guys if I have to, but like I'm not gonna take shots and ask for guys to be fired. But like I just don't really get the rhyme or reason for it. Is the thing for me. Like and part of it, I guess, like, hey, he hasn't been to talk to the media since the season. So there's no chances to talk to him. And that's not the fault of Notre Dame. I will say that it's the media. If in hindsight, they would have made it the old way. Because before they used to make the coordinators available every week. Now they're giving assistants because they're like, hey, guess what? We want to hear from Mike Mickens during the season, or we want to hear from this guy. But guess what? Everyone would want to hear from Chris Ash every week to be like, why? Why this? Why that? How are you going to improve this? When you talked about enhancing, when you talked about this, you're not broke, you're going to fix it. Like, you want to kind of know what's going on. And obviously those are conversations that it's like happening behind closed doors and whatever. But I don't know. It's 4 games into the season. Like, do I foresee like all of a sudden it's like, wow, they're just like, this is a breakout and this totally changed? I'm like, I don't know. They're a third of the way into the season now.
Yeah. So Robert Johns asked, are the coaches looking at these defensive stats and saying we need to change and go back to being aggressive? I don't know. It's one of those things like you don't know what they think the problem is.
I don't know what they're prioritizing,
right? Like
after when things were so bad that it's just like we don't know.
Yeah. All I know is that, again, like I said, I don't know what it's supposed to look like, given the way that they're playing. What does it look like? What does a good game from these guys look like? I don't know. How is Drake Bowen ever going to have a tackle for loss in the run game when he's just standing there waiting for the running back to choose his path or reading the D line or whatever he's doing? How is he supposed to do it? I don't know. Like, I truly don't see it. So, we'll just have to monitor that. The good news is that, like you said, the guards for Boise State, you said, aren't very good. And obviously, like, they had a very tough time playing against USF, and that's the closest thing to Notre Dame's defenses they're going to see, or they have seen so far, excuse me. So, Notre Dame has, relative to the way that the linebackers look or whatever, they have been better against the run than they were against Miami in the opener. I thought they were pretty good against the run against A&M. It was just like some situational stuff. Like Le'Veon Moss has 20 carries for 81 yards, but he has the 1-yard touchdown runs. He had like 3 of those. So, and look, like you said, to the point, they're not giving up gash like run plays where they're just breaking free and they're getting a bunch of explosives. Like, they've given up 3 runs of 20 plus yards this year, which is 29th in the nation. But like 3 runs, it's just not a ton. And one last week came against Taylor Green when he had a 50-yarder, right? So, they're not getting gashed in the running game, but it is something that they do need to figure out, because if the guards have a good day for Boise State, I don't feel like there's really any other defense to it. Like, there's any stopgap to it. Like, they're going to run the ball pretty well. They're going to run the ball for 4.5 yards a carry if the D tackles don't have a good game against the guards.
Well, and I think too, the one other thing that probably should be emphasized more is that if you're never getting tackles for loss, like it's okay, whatever. If you give up a 2-yard run, it's a win, right? Like that's a
For
win,
sure.
right?
It's goes
2nd and
down
8 is a
as
win.
it goes down as a non-successful play, like some success rate.
Second and 7, 2nd and 7 is a win, right? Like even 2nd and 6 is technically a win, but like, you know what's better? 2nd and 12, like, because that changes how the play sheet changes. You can only call certain things at that time, and teams become more predictable. They have to do certain things.
Yeah.
And so if you're not putting someone behind the 6, if you're making, even if you get like, you give up, okay, you're going to give up. I mean, obviously they're going to give up some yards on the ground to Boise State. It's going to happen. They're going to get something, but like when you get all of a sudden, when it's like 2nd and 13, 2nd and 12 instead, it's like, okay, even if they get like, let's say they run the ball in the next play, they get 5 yards. Well, it's 3rd and 8 instead of 3rd and 3. Like it changes how you can do it. It changes how much havoc you can get on 3rd down, how you can call 3rd down, all of these things. And it's just one of these things where I just don't really understand it. I don't really understand. I don't think it's just like, I think it's obviously much more than just being like, well, they don't have Cross and Mills. No, I don't think Howard Cross would be having the kind of success that he had at Notre Dame playing in this same defense and how they're using it. Like, I just think that's not a good thing.
I love that Tater Tom is in the chat talking about potatoes, and they've been talking about, the chat's been talking about potatoes for about 20 minutes, and I dig that. I love that Tater Tom is doing. The only thing we have in Idaho are taters in a run game. So the run game is what they need, in my opinion. That's what they need. So DB's non-existent, Tater's top tier. Love this Tater Tom. Please come every week. See, this is why you play teams like Boise State, because you get Tater Tom in the chat, and he's making it happen. What were you gonna say?
I got because for people to know, like I went to school at Idaho State, and it's, you know, in Pocatello, Idaho, southeastern Idaho. It's not close to Boise. It's like about 3.5 hours away from Boise, east of Boise. But one thing that I was shocked, there wasn't like, they didn't highlight the potato. Like I thought, man, they're gonna have some special fry shops, maybe some great little local potato chips. Nah, it was like Applebee's. Like, come on, Idaho, lean into your thing, do it. I was very disappointed. I'd say that was food wise number one at the top of my list of thing. I did Eric Fasano. I did go to Simon Fraser as well. I transferred there, but I went my first 3 years at Idaho State.
There you go. So Jamie, up your tater promotion game out in Idaho. Come on, guys.
I mean, this was many years ago, but still.
Yeah, still. Maybe they've solved the problem. You can find a new game and solve the problem of not having something to do, and find a new hobby with maybe something like pickleball, Jamie. You could multiple stones with one throw, or multiple birds with one throw of a stone. I messed that up. I apologize. But anyway, you don't have to mess up your weekend plans when you go to H2 Pickleball, founded by alum Todd Hill. He's teaming with fellow alums Jack Gibbs and Will Howells, a top 10 pickleball pro, to bring Notre Dame fans to Notre Dame Pickleball Crew League. Besides football, what better way to connect and engage fans than through pickleball? Membership is free, and members will have access to special pickleball events and discounts. The next event will be a Will Howells Pickleball Clinic on the Friday before the Syracuse game. Members will also get discounted tickets to the Syracuse game. For information, contact Todd at h2pickleball.com or 574-339-5195 to join the league. And be sure to visit the H2 Pickleball facility in Mishawaka when you are in town. H2 Pickleball is located at 55801 Evergreen Plaza Drive in Mishawaka, Indiana. Real quick, Jamie. Boise State throwing the ball against Notre Dame secondary. Do you like Notre Dame in this one?
I do. Well, one, I think this is another reason why you got to stop the run, is because if you make Maddox Madsen into a passer, he's good play action, obviously, because they were able to like kind of sell off of that. And he's significantly better, play action than he is when he's doing straight dropbacks. Like that is definitely a thing. Like, and I would say that, so if you look at when against USF, he had to throw 46 passes and they dropped back 55 times. That's not how they're built. Like 35 of his 46 passes were non-play action, 51.4%, 4.6 YPA, 3 turnover worthy plays on those. Last year threw the ball 40 times once, all of last year against Oregon, 42.5% of his passes, 3.7 YPA. Yuck. And if you just take the without play action, 38.7%, 2.7 YPA. Yes, get them. That's another reason. Get them into long yardage situations. Also, it's one of these things. If Boise State doesn't stop Notre Dame's offense and Notre Dame gets a lead and they're like,
yeah.
And it gets big enough that it's like, well, we have to throw the ball. We have to do this. We have to like be more explosive because it's just like we can't like grind it and do that. I mean, it just plays into Notre Dame's hands, and I think it's gonna be good.
Can Boise State slow down Notre Dame's offense?
Probably not. I don't think so. Like based on kind of they're too boomer bust. That's the main thing. I think they get after the quarterback. Like they get after it. Like they blitz a ton. Eric Chenander does a really good job with his blitz package. He gave like Penn State problems with their blitz package last year. Like that's something that they led the nation in sacks last year. They had 55 sacks. Like they were third in sack rate, and the numbers don't look as good this year in terms of their like raw numbers in terms of sack, but they're still fourth in sack rate, and they're sixth in passing success rate. So it's like a lot of that is because of the blitz, and they have to get the ball. People have to get the ball out. They're getting the ball out quick and all that. So if you run on them, that's a big issue like that. Then they're in trouble, and they're 123rd in EPA per rush, 111th in PFF's tackling grades. Right, like they were 132nd last year. Just a lot of the same guys too, right? So it's like these same guys. It's funny because I think their over aggression leads to all their missed tackles.
Right.
Like if you watch like the USF game where it's like guys are just screaming downhill, but it's like they miss because it's like they're going for like the knockout shot or like, just trying to get a big hit. And it's like they're not breaking down. Like it's like amazing how many of those you see. And they've given up a lot of, like, they gave up a 64 to 38 yard run against Air Force, 23 and 49 against USF. They're 12. They've allowed 12 plays of 30 plus yards from scrimmage. This is 115th. 8 of them have been the pass, and they just like gave up a ton. Most of them are all those ones are against Air Force and USF, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where they did it. And I mean, which are like the two best teams. Like think about this, that USF had a 32% success rate against them, but still averaged 7.3 yards per play because they just got so many explosive plays against them. And they're trash in the red zone this year. They're 133rd. They've 12 touchdowns on 14 red zone trips. Like it seems like how they're built is absolutely the worst possible team for them to see is Notre Dame, because Notre Dame has just been like an explosive play factory the last couple games and really like did pretty good in explosive plays. The first, basically that's all they had in the Miami game. And then, they, if you look at like, A&M, they had plenty of explosive plays too. So I think they're going to score a lot of points on Boise. I don't know how they're going to stop them. That's why when you saw like all the people with the predictions, I'm like, I think it's going to be. I don't know how they're going to stop them. Like they need to get like sacks and stuff to stop them. But if Notre Dame's line plays well, if they got a good plan against the blitz, if they don't turn the ball over, like then I just think Notre Dame's got too many athletes. They're going to eventually stuff's going to break. And again, too, if Notre Dame gets a lead, it's like I think it can get ugly.
The Purdue game to me was instructive in that Denbrock showed he's very willing to be patient and just give the ball to Love and Price all over and over again, you know, because I think the thing that Boise needs is for them to just be like, oh, we're just going to keep dropping back with Carr, because then they can create havoc. Like it's harder for them, I think, to create havoc in the running game if Notre Dame is committed to it. Obviously, they can still do it, right? Like you can run blitz. It's not like they don't. And obviously, they need to create pressures, or create, tackles in the backfield and things like that. But it's just like it's a lot harder when it's just like you're stopping Love and Price all the time. And I feel like the offensive line has found itself a little bit, because Raymond Horton puts up in here, how many pressures will the tackles give up? Obviously, the Miami game was not good for the tackles. Since then, though, has it been bad? I don't know.
It's been good.
It's been good since then. I think that might have just been a matchup problem for them. And so I think since then, I just don't know. I think we are holding on to those concerns with tackles. Not that they're perfect. I don't want to say they're perfect. They won't give up anything. I just think we're holding on to those concerns at tackle because of the game that they had against Miami. And the preceding 3 games are just not anywhere near that. In fact, they were quite good, as you say. So that's the other part of this too, is I feel like the line has really been gelling the last few games. And all the other part of it is like they've kind of kept Gerby Lambert in the lineup. They haven't been switching him and Sullivan Absher out, which is interesting. They're keeping the or on the depth chart. Like you could probably take the or away. Like
you can take the or away now.
Gerby Lambert's playing every snap. So I think that's the hard part too, is the line has continued to gel. And the other hard part is CJ Carr seems to handle pressure really well. And he seems to have a good feel for where he goes with the ball. Of the wide receivers, is there any particular one that you feel like I could be in for a big one in this game?
I mean, I think both of their corners, I think, because they put them in situations when you blitz so much, you have to put those guys in one-on-one situations all the time, right? So, I mean, I think the outside guys are the guys who are going to have a chance. I do think like Mickey was like playing a lot of like, slot corner for them. Like he was safety, but he was basically like a slot corner. So, he was their best guy there. So, and they'll blitz that guy a lot too. So, I mean, there's going to get that guy will have, Pauling and Greathouse will have opportunities, but I think, you're going to get a lot of like obvious one-on-one matchups outside that I think they're going to take advantage of, right? So I imagine that, Fields could have a big day. It's going to be another one of those things too, with like, if you are going to play off on phase on, they'll just kill them with that all day, like they've been doing, right? And if you play press, he can run by you, right? So I think both those guys are probably going to be in line for a big day.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, too, sorry, just to interrupt one thing. Emil Wagner, 1 pressure allowed since that first game.
Yeah.
He's been very good and Knapp obviously gave up the 1 sack against Purdue. But I mean, he was really good in this Arkansas game in pass pro. And, I'm not saying, I'm not saying he's Joe Alt or anything like that, but like, they'll do stuff to blitz and try to overwhelm and overload and sim pressures and all this kind of stuff there. But it's not I don't think people need to worry about the tackles as much, just like losing one-on-one kind of stuff. Like it's not I don't think that's Boise State. Like they have Jaden Virgin Morgan is their top pass rusher, and he had like 10 sacks last year. It's more of like he's dominating against Mountain West type guys than he is really good.
Yeah. Sly Fox is asking, is Jaden Mickey out for sure? I don't know that you can be knocked out like that in a game and stretch it off and then you're playing the next week.
It seems unlikely.
I don't like that.
I don't think that's good. Like that I think that would be actually like, as much as I'm sure he's dying to play in this game.
Right.
I don't think would be a smart move. Even if he passes all the tests, that's just, if you actually care about the kid, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't push
you
it.
Can't, like you may not even be able to, like, just from a protocol standpoint. If you're unconscious, then you can't. It's just not a good idea. I'm glad he's coming. I'm glad they're bringing him because I know the team likes him. Like I'll always remember, like, everyone was going crazy with him at the Louisville game last year. It was the weekend that he went into the portal, or he was redshirting, went into the portal, and he was like, when they were going up the tunnel, he was like right at the entrance there in the stands, and everyone was like, he was going crazy with his teammates, or his former teammates. So I know everyone likes him. So I'm glad he's coming, and I'm glad that he's okay. Right. Like, it's good that he's, doing well. Right. It looked serious, and it probably was serious, but like he is recovered okay. So that's a good thing. What about this matchup makes you nervous?
I think the fact that, they haven't really, I mean, obviously they've seen blitz a lot, but they're not going to see this much blitz anywhere else. And that is the thing with Chenander, is like, when he gets into these games where it's like, hey, we're overmatched, like they have better dudes than us.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I'm bringing the house like all the time. That's just his MO. And I think so, when that happens, it's like Carr has never had that, quite yet. And maybe he'll totally take advantage of it and just cook them, and it'll be like, okay, what a mistake or whatever. But, it is the kind of thing that if it gets, rattles him or whatever, he gets hit a lot. I mean, they hit the quarterback a lot because of it. So, if they're able to kind of like slow down the running game early, and like, I do think that Notre Dame will move the pocket like they've done a lot to try to like avoid some of that stuff too, which will help. But, that is one thing where I think like, they can cause havoc and kind of create some problems there. And then I think offensively, like, they have backs that I think they're okay at receiver. Their tight end is a good player. I think, but they have backs like who can break it. So anytime you're playing that, it's just, you're playing those guys. It's like, it's dangerous, right? Because all it takes is just one poor run fit, and then it's like, Taylon Green getting 54 yards, right? Like they made him assignment error, and it's 54 yards. And it's not to say that, they, on that same one, they got to stop on that same drive, and that's great.
Yeah.
But, you don't want to give that up, right? You don't want to give that up. Also, too, this is a desperation game for Boise. It's like, if they win this game, Boise, first of all, Boise, even though they have like the kind of giant killer rep, haven't beat a Power 4 team since 2019. So something to keep in mind. And they did play like Oregon tight last year.
Yes, they did.
But
obviously Genty was, I mean, he had a huge game. Like, he was a huge part of that.
Incredible in that game. But if you think about like what this game means to them, because they lost to USF, it's like this game, if they win this game, it's like, it's the best win any, group of 6 team will have all year, pretty much, because there's not too many other like group of 6 teams that have anyone left on the schedule, right? Because I mean, Memphis, they're that Arkansas, it looks like a good win, but it's like, well, now Arkansas, are they going to make a bowl game, whatever, right? So it's not quite the same. So as important as it is for Notre Dame to keep winning and winning out, it was like, this game means so much for Boise State, because if they win it, then if they win out, they got a real shot at being a CFP team again.
Yeah.
And if they don't, so it's like, so I feel like it just kitchen sink. They're going to run as many trick plays and whatever. And whenever there's stuff like that, weird stuff can happen.
There's just institutional. They know how to play well. You know, like you said, they haven't won since 2019, but you know they know how to play well in these games. Like,
and they're not intimidated.
They're not intimidated. They're not scared, and they know how to play against teams like Notre Dame. Like, you gotta. I don't feel very confident about like Chris Ash out coaching anyone's offensive coordinator. Like, I feel like they'll have a plan for Notre Dame, and you know that makes me nervous. Just like I feel like they'll come up with something that Notre Dame may not be ready for. I just, it's hard for, until I see the offense, Notre Dame's offense, like just fail straight up. I have to just continue to believe that they're going to move the ball like they have. They have just so many ways to do it, and they can hit you. They can have long drives. They can hit you explosive in the passing game. They can hit you explosive in the running game, and it just makes it very hard. So I'm going to lean on that, but Boise State makes me nervous. Like it does. Just the fact that their coaching staff is so kind of dialed in, you know, and their program is dialed in against an opponent like Notre Dame. So thank you for the super chat, Eric Fasano. Any update, insight on if USC in 2026 will happen? And regardless, does Notre Dame need another name opponent in 26? They're at FSU, and they play Miami in 2027, which is blah.
I mean, I haven't heard any other updates with it. You know, that's just, I think there was the thing of like them trying to circumvent their deal with like the Big Ten to try to make money or get like a Netflix game or something. It was just like, okay, this is crazy or whatever, that they were going to try to get that done. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. If you go to FBS schedules, it's on the schedule, but I don't think that like that game isn't scheduled, right? Like so I don't know what the deal is, but I mean, they play Florida State, you know, at Florida State, Miami. ACC, don't make that a stupid, you know, Labor Day game again for this Florida State. Just put it somewhere else. Like, don't do it, but they probably will. But I don't know. I because Wisconsin, he's probably gonna have a new coach. So it's like Wisconsin's got a new coach. Sparty, if like I've seen what's his face, the coach who's Jonathan Smith. Jonathan Smith, like I've heard of his name like as a possible UCLA guy. So it's like,
oh, that's interesting.
You know, if he leaves there, because I think
that'd be a good hire for them.
I think it'd be a really good hire. And I think he's the kind of like he took over Michigan State in a bad spot, but I think if he's still there next year, they'll be frisky. Yeah. They'll be frisky at the very least. You know, and I think Purdue will be better. SMU is like, that's going to be, you know, it's at Notre Dame, but SMU is going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they definitely need another name. It would probably would be nice, but I don't know how they're going to get it unless they are able to do one of those, you know, kickoff classic type early things. Cause I don't think just randomly somebody big name is going to be looking for a game. So I don't know. It's tough. It's why, you know, it kind of puts them in a bad spot.
Yeah. Predictions?
I think same kind of thing with you. Or like, I do think there's a little bit of things that could scare Notre Dame, but I just think they won't be able to stop Notre Dame's offense ultimately, and it'll just overwhelm them. Because even if you get some stops, it's like the next series they can just go and like 3 plays and score, and it's just that's the kind of thing that I would expect. So I think I'm gonna go Notre Dame 49, Boise 17.
I'm gonna go Notre Dame 45, Boise 24, but it will be 45-17. So the score at the end will be. Don't call it garbage time, Jamie.
I'm still calling it garbage time. I understand as a coach you don't want to call it garbage time.
That's honestly that was a great answer. Like truly, it was, and I very savvy from Marcus Freeman on that. I agree with you. Like it is for us, we can call it garbage time, but for the coach, no
way.
There's
no way you
thing.
would.
No such thing as garbage time. That's good stuff.
Yeah, and well, and it's true. You can go and earn more time by doing well in those situations, right? So
I mean, Elijah Hughes.
There you go.
There you go. So 45-24 will be 45-17. All right, that'll do it for our show today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like that, please hit that like. Please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so whenever it is we'll go live. We'll be back on Saturday after the game for our post-game show. Sunday will be the morning after recap show, as always. And then Monday, Power Hour, Tuesday, Hit and Hustle. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Enjoy the game on Saturday. We'll talk to you afterwards. Keep hitting and hustling.